switch my view. What's happening? Happy Monday, everybody. How's everybody doing? Hope you're blessed, highly favored. Those of you who are in Memphis, hope you're enjoying your spring break with your family or not with your family, whatever you're choosing to do. I hope that everybody is doing well. Everybody, get adjusted to the spring forward, the losing that hour of sleep. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's good. I'm doing blessed, highly favored, all the things because I just got back from vacation. For those of you who are faithful watchers of the Mondays, I'm sorry. I just decided that, you know what, last week I'm going to go full unplugged. I'm not going to post nothing. I'm not going to do nothing related to social media. So everything that came out last week was already pre-scheduled coming into the week. And I just was like, you know what? I'm going to give myself Monday off. But I'm here, back, and ready to go with y'all. But of course, while I was gone, of course, I was thinking about y'all. I was thinking about, of course, what I'm going to come on and talk about next that's really going to add value. And it really is the concept of vacation. Because the reality is, one, a lot of people say, I need a vacation. I need a vacation. I just need to get away. I need a vacation. And at the same time, there's a lot of people who cannot afford to go to Jamaica like I did. They can't afford to go to Cancun. They can't afford to go to Europe. They can't afford to maybe even to go to, a couple states away for a weekend. And obviously, if you can't, I need you to work on getting yourself in a position where you can save some money so that you can get some rest. But the reality is, you shouldn't have to travel and spend thousands upon thousands of dollars just to find a sense of rest and relief, right? And so that's why I really wanted today to talk about getting that level of rest, getting vacation level rest without spending vacation level money. Because a lot of us don't know how to rest when we are working. We don't know how to maximize that level of recovery, right? Because we're just working and working and working and working and working without taking care of our body. Which is why it's so pivotal and so important for today's live to really identify, you know what? I need to take care of myself better. So today's not about productivity. Today's not about performance. Today is actually about that R and R and R, the rest, refuel, and recovery that everybody needs to have as a high performer, as somebody who produces at a high level, as somebody in a high stress, high performing industry. You got to have a high level of production. A high level of recovery because you're performing at such a high level. Think about it. Those of you who are your managers, your directors, maybe some of you are VPs watching this, and you guys are literally going, making high level decisions, making intense decisions. You're dealing with other people's stress. You guys are putting your mind and your body through a lot. So you have to be able to have a level of recovery that meets that. And even then, I want you to think about it like a NASCAR or even a race car driver. So those drivers, they drive around that lap over 200 times in one particular race. However, the cars literally cannot go 200 miles, 200 laps around the track on one tank of gas, on one set of tires. And so the car and the driver has to be in line, and they have to be able to monitor the vehicles. Like, okay, the vehicle needs to come in for a pit stop. In order for me to still maintain my position in the race, in order for me to operate at that highest level, that level of speed, that level of high performance, and stay in that level and stay in that lane and give me a chance to win, I have to strategically take the breaks. And when I take those breaks, those pit stops, I can't just change one tire. No. I got to change all four tires. I have to make sure that the tank is filled up all the way to the max. I got to make sure if something's wrong, it needs to be fixed before I get back out there. And you have to treat your mind and your body the same way day to day. You get what I'm saying? Because some of y'all can't control. Some of y'all are not in a level, hopefully many of you are, but some of y'all are not in a level at work where you can necessarily control the workflow, control the busiest parts of the day. But what you can control is when you punch out, how I got my best getting myself together so that I can be well and healthy. You get what I'm saying? That's really the importance of it. That's the crux of the message. And so what you have to understand is that you can't just be one dimensional about this. You have to take care of your mind and your body when it comes to this. Because we're an interconnected being. The brain is not separate from the body is not separate from the brain. Both impact each other, which of course impacts your behavior, which impacts your processing, which impacts your performance. Okay? So let's go over the easy stuff first. And that's the physical thing. So when we're talking about, making vacation level rest without the vacation, the first thing that has to come to mind, and probably the most impactful thing that can do to improve your overall health and well-being, is getting enough sleep. Some of y'all are operating on weeks and weeks and weeks of 5 hours of sleep, 6 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep, and your mind and your body are struggling. That's the one thing that can completely change your overall well-being, your sharpness, your performance, everything. Go sleep deprived. Go without sleep for just 2 days and see if you can still operate at the same level. Hell, go to sleep without 1 day of sleep and see if you can operate at the same level. You get what I'm saying? And so when we're talking about, okay, on vacation, I normally sleep in. I normally sleep in until like 10, 11, maybe even 12, right? Well, number one, your body is probably playing catch up from all the lack of hours that you are not getting. But what is it? What would it take to get that level of rest? And when I think about it, when I went into my hotel room this past week, blackout curtains. First thing I noticed in the room, or first thing I'm looking for when I'm going into a hotel room, because I got blackout curtains here at home. And because the thing is, that sun is going to beat me up every time. And if those blackout curtains ain't there, I'm going to be waking up too early than I want to be up, right? Second thing that I'm noticing, of course, is a comfortable bed and comfortable temperature. Got to make sure that your body is comfortable. So if you haven't, if you need a new bed, if you need to invest in a pillow topper, if you need to invest in some new sheets, if you need to, I would recommend that you invest in that. Not those things aren't. I'm not saying get the $2,000, $3,000 bed. I ain't saying that. But what I am saying is you spend approximately 1/3 of your life asleep. So you need to make sure that your bed is comfortable. It's up to your standards that allows your body to enter that area of rest, right? So that not only you want to be able to maximize your sleep, because it's very important. Like the detoxification that happens in your brain, in your body, to your blood, your blood pressure, there's a lot that happens when we get a great quality sleep. But some of us are not getting the maximum benefits of it because we're not sleeping enough and we're not getting enough quality sleep. That's the number one thing that you got to do to get that level of vacation level rest. The second thing that I want you to do is to pay attention to your body. Pay attention to the problem areas that you're experiencing. So when I say pay attention to your body, I mean, like, do you have shoulder issues? Like, are your shoulders hurting? Like looking at me doing this, are your hands hurting? Are your feet hurting? Is your lower back hurting? And is your knees hurting? Is your calves hurting? Like, pay attention to those things, because a lot of us just push through. A lot of us have these aching issues, but we're just pushing through. We're just a little engine that could just chug it, 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 chug it. But your tire has a leak in it. We're going back to the car analogy. Like, your windshield has a crack in it. Your hold on, your heat work, but your air don't work. But you've been ignoring it because you just got to keep going. You just got to keep going. But the reality is that your body has to be taken care of, because if we continue to ignore this, eventually we're going to break down and we're going to burn out. And so what I challenge you to do is to pay attention to your body and then target those specific areas. When I was on vacation, we went and got access to the spa. And the best part about it, I wouldn't even say was the massages, but it was actually the hydrotherapy. And in the hydrotherapy, there were different pools, not just a hot tub, not just a regular pool, but there was a hot tub that was right next to the cold plunge. And that was my first time experiencing, I think it's called comparative therapy. But essentially what it is, that you spend a couple minutes in the hot, and then you spend a couple seconds in the cold. Maybe then you go to the sauna, or you go to the Turkish bath, or you go to the lukewarm cold immersion hydrotherapy type situation. And so that was cool for me, because not only was it relaxing, but it also allowed me to target my problem areas, which are my shoulders, and be able to just sit and just let it relax. And so when we got done with it, my body just felt, ooh, you know what I'm saying? But we got to have that level of practice, that level of care on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis, right? Especially when we have intense things going on. This first quarter, I don't know about you, but we've been revving up. I've been revving up. I've been setting myself up. So I got to make sure that in between my workshops, in between my meetings, in between my book deals and stuff like that, I got to make sure that my body is ready to handle that level of performance. Otherwise, I'm going to experience some injuries that I don't want, and then that's going to slow me down. So really target your problem areas before your problem areas become real big problems. You know what I'm saying? And so the last thing, this is kind of a freebie, but the last thing, I want you to get off caffeine. I want you to challenge yourself to get some natural levels of energy. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean by that is the thing about caffeine, one, it's the number one abused drug in America by way of energy drinks and coffee and sugar and all this type of stuff, right? And so the pullback from that is, because it's so overused, we don't have the natural things that will give our bodies energy and are most beneficial for our body. So when I say this, I'm talking about starting your day off with something that's give you that natural energy. So let's say, for example, I love to use B6. I love to use maca root. I love to use rhodiola rosea. I love to use those natural things that will help my brain health, but also give me a nice, stable, consistent level of energy. Because the source of your energy matters just as much as the energy itself. And that's why a lot of you are tired all the time, because you're experiencing those heavy caffeine crashes. Whereas if you switch to a natural form of energy, like the herbs, like the fruit, like the vegetables, like clean, lean protein, then your energy levels, it may not be long, but you will not experience the crash. And the more you do it, the more natural, when you wake up in the morning, you'll be able to get right up and you'll be able to get to it instead of dragging. And that goes back into sleep. So making sure that you switch from caffeine to a more natural form of energy is what I want to challenge you to do. That's the challenge. That's the freebie. Because here's the thing, even though it was offered, I didn't see too many people that had coffee. I didn't see it. Most people started the day off with water. Most people started the day off with juice. Most people started the day off with a mimosa. But they didn't seem tired. And that's because they were getting that natural form of energy, mostly from the sun. Shout out to vitamin D. But they were making sure that, you know what, I'm good. I'm energized. I don't really need no coffee right now. I'm good. And so having that level of energy, refueling yourself consistently is going to be needed. Now, am I saying cut out coffee entirely? No, because I know some of y'all, you're not going to be able to do it. But I do want to challenge you just to find additional sources of natural energy for your body besides caffeine. Okay? All right, next. Here's the thing. We knocked out the body. I told you we're going to do the easy stuff first, but we got to pivot to the mental stuff. Because that is really where people start to lose hope. That is where people get really dragged down with work and not really fortifying the mind. And that's really where they say, okay, I need a vacation. I have to have a vacation. There is no, I just want to escape from all this work responsibility. And the reality is, you may not need a vacation. You just might need to find ways for you to recover your mind. And one of the easiest ways that you can do that is flexing your creative juices. Oftentimes, when we're at work, we're doing the same routine over and over and over and over. Customers, problem, solution. Customer, problem, solution. Boss, emails, tenants for the day, do those techniques, do those things, solution, get out the way. It's a routine, and where a lot of people find is that they do not have any work-life balance. We've talked about that before, but they've given so much to work, doing the same things, putting out the same fires, dealing with the same issues over and over and over again. They have no space for themselves. And embracing those creative outlets allow you not only to change up the routine, but it allows you to access an area of your brain that helps you to be able to relax. You know what I'm saying? And by creative outlets, am I necessarily just saying something artistic, something colorful, something like paint? No, I'm saying something like cooking. I'm saying something like putting together a project, getting out the camera and just taking pictures. Thinking of vision, thinking of something that excites you. Just putting the area of the brain is accessed through just putting stuff together and allowing yourself to be free and creative. Everybody can embrace that on their off day. Everybody can embrace that, when they get off of work. And I'm not saying like spend hours on hours and hours, especially if you ain't got it. But just taking that time to just bring stuff together. It just relaxes you. It just allows you to go into a space that you're not in when you're at work, crunching numbers, solving problems, so on and so forth for a check. You know what I'm saying? That's oftentimes when I talk to my music clients, and I have to really walk them through why your job, your focus is music, song creation, so on and so forth. That's not going to relax you, because now your mind has associated that with work. We need to do something completely different that's also creative. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why having a creative outlet is so vital, right? And so a lot of people overlook it, but it's essential for the brain. And in that same vein, since we're talking about vacation, you gotta play. You gotta play hard. You working hard. You grinding. You're everything else for everybody else, but you don't play hard, or you don't play regularly. Let me say that, because some of y'all play too hard, and that's why you got some other issues. But we ain't gonna talk about that. But I need you to play enough. And by play enough, I mean making sure that you're doing the things that excite you, the things that are enjoyable for you, Some of y'all haven't done stuff that is enjoyable in a long time, or the stuff that's enjoyable is reliant upon other people. Your old buddies are inviting you out. Your son, your daughter, your family has an event, and you're not setting it up, but you're waiting until the next one. But you have to do this for yourself. You have to do activities, you have to do hobbies, you have to do things that are exciting for you, things that you are looking forward to, things that is like, oh yes, this reminds me of my childhood, or this excites me. This is something that is not related to work or clients or anything like that, that allows me to just have fun. And so some of y'all need to be intentional about scheduling that. You're intentional about scheduling everything else, but you're not scheduled about bowling. You're not intentional about date night. You're not intentional about going swimming. You're not intentional about going to the concert. You're not intentional about saying, you know what? I'm finna go have fun. Without alcohol, without drinking, without marijuana, all the, substances. But yeah, we got to be intentional about that, because we are intentional about work, to making sure our bills are paid, making sure there's a roof over our head. But you got to be intentional about you as well, regularly. If not once a week, once every 2 weeks. If not once every 2 weeks, once a month. I think you can do it every weekend. Something small, but you got to do that for you. Your mental health will see a world of difference when you begin doing that. And speaking of mental health, we have to have relief. We have to have those times when you know what I'm saying? Maybe you don't get what I'm saying. Let me explain. So we had an ocean view in my particular room. And this is probably one of the best ocean views that I've stayed in, that is just blue water as far as the eye can see. And just hearing the waves, just going out there. Me and my wife at separate times and together would just go out on the balcony and just sit there. Just sit there. Just take in the waves, take in nature, see the ocean, experience the sun, and really just sitting there and just breathing, thinking, allowing my mind to float, allowing my mind to just be at peace and at ease. We all need that time for ourselves. We need those times regularly, especially those of you who have responsibilities outside of work too. Shout out to the single moms. Shout out to the parents. Shout out to the people who taking care of their parents. You got to have space for you to really just be able to breathe. Right? Now, you got to take that time. You got to make that time. Even if it's just 15 minutes at the start of your day. Doing the breathing exercises that's in the Turn Your Stress Off course. Even if it's just, you know what? When I get home, I'm just going to sit in my car. I'm going to play my favorite music, and I'm going to just sit here. And I'm going to just rap along to the song. Even if it's just, you know what? I'm not really hungry, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just practice my diaphragmatic breathing. I'm going to do my somatic movement, and I'm going to stretch my neck. I've been looking at the screen all day. I'm going to stretch my shoulders. I'm going to spend 10 minutes to make sure that my mind is coming down instead of go, 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 go. You know what I'm saying? You got to make time for your brain to be at peace. Because that's what happens on vacation. When we're sitting at the pool in the sun. I watched so many people get burnt this week. Anyway, but just sitting out at the sun and people watching, sitting out at the sun and watching the kids jump in the pool, or you jumping in the pool, or you going on an excursion. You're not thinking about work. You're not thinking about none of that. And while you might not be able to make a whole day, even though you probably should, even though you probably should take a couple mental health days, even though you probably should, maybe you can't take off a whole day. Maybe you can't take off a whole couple days. But what you can do is just make intentional time for you to just relax, to just rest. Disconnect from work, turn off your emails, put your phone on do not disturb, and just begin to just chill. You can do that. You have the autonomy to do that. I don't care what your boss says. I don't care what your manager says. I don't care what your spouse says. You have the freedom, the autonomy to take 10 minutes, to take 30 minutes, take an hour, and just allow yourself to breathe. Allow your mind to rest. All of these are essential for maximizing your recovery on a day-to-day basis. Now, am I saying this is a replacement for spending a week in Jamaica? No. As per somebody who just came back from Jamaica, hey, it's great. 80 degree days, 70 degree nights. It was a vibe. It was great. And I can't wait to go on the next vacation, but I'm not running to it. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, I have so much going on that I have to have a vacation to escape from it. And that's why I want to challenge you. For those of you who especially don't have a vacation coming up, or maybe you know what, your funds are focused on other things right now, you still need to make sure that your brain and your body have enough rest and recovery. That's on the level of a vacation. Okay? So take your notes, save this one, hit the replay button, share it with a friend, share it with your coworker who says, I don't need no vacation. Okay, you don't need that vacation, but you definitely need the level of rest. Okay? All right, guys, we're going to call it there. Click the links below to get access, get 25% off the Turn Your Stress Off course. Announcement. For those of y'all who are in the Memphis, Tennessee area, next Wednesday, I'm doing a workshop at the Bartlett Chamber of Commerce where I will be focusing on, where I'll be talking about how to thrive in a high stress environment. Basically, it'll be a whole 1.5 hour workshop where I'll be teaching you different activities in order for you to do that. If I'm gonna try to get the recording, I'm gonna try to record it, maybe chop it up, post some clips. But if you want to come in person, you're more than welcome to do so. I'll promote it here. Excuse me, I need some water. I'll promote it on my LinkedIn. I'll promote it on my YouTube. If you have any questions about it, just hit me up. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace.